Hi there and hello everybody and welcome back to another edition of Love in Action, Deconstruction Junction podcast and television show. I'm Dr. Flo, not telling you what I heard, but what I know. What I know is that you're loved and lovable. You've always been loved and lovable, and you're going to be loved and lovable for the rest of your life. I encourage, equip, and empower bold dreamers to use their time, talent, and treasure for good on the planet. If you like assistance with your dream, let us know. We're living our dream right now. And who am I living my dream with today? With the lovely Tara Praolo Studio.
What an intro. Living your dream. I like that. That was nice, baby. Clip that one and put it up. That was great. I like that one. Hi, y'all. I'm Tara Praolo. I am your resident Black biracial multi-passionate musician, which I was just giggling about because somebody was like, you identify as Black and you're ragging on Canada? Anyway, that's why we're here, y'all. I was like, yes, I am. Anyway, where was I? Multi-passionate musician. I talk about the issue that nobody wants to talk about and push you to do the same. I'll be revamping that intro because I need to tell y'all what the fuck I do. But also, if you're into deconstructing, and I see a lot of this online right now, like I do genuinely. Maybe I've finally trained my algorithms, but I do genuinely see more and more people like actually thinking about and considering and realizing that like mayhaps some of the things that we have been told are not actually the things that we want to do in order to get to the places that we're going. If you are one of those people, we would love to talk to you on this podcast. We would love to continue to deconstruct the things that are your causes in your life, or that you want to call attention to, or just the journey of your life. So your name here. Introduce yourself by applying at lovedandlovable.bio.link, 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 and we'll set up a 15-minute vibe check with you. Okay? There's a joke. Some of y'all know. If you're in the network, you're in the network. If you're not in the network, you're not in the network.
Yeah, y'all, we don't have 15 days to talk to you. We don't have 15 hours to talk to you. We're really trying to get like as many people as possible encouraged, equipped, and empowered. Most of you who come into our services and into our programs, into our community, you already know what your dream is. You already know who you want to encourage. You already know who you love. You're working deeper on loving yourself and having that overflow go into the world. So it only takes us about 15 to 20 minutes to cook a dream here and to cook your magic. So just tap in and we will tap back. We don't have a lot of time today to do today's podcast taping, so we're going to jump right in talking about Tara's first topic. Take it away.
Hello, puppet. Okay, so listen, and there's like a slide after this. I don't even remember what the slide says. There we go. This is like the mundane one, but also is like the entire point. And then I'll give you some backstory. So I'm gonna read this, I'll give you backstory. So about the No Kings protests, I don't see who's organizing these, not that I really worry about that stuff, but I see no mention of Gaza or genocide on their site. This looks to me like yet another purely liberal anti-Trump parade that I don't give a fuck about. Am I wrong? Now, elsewhere on the internet, from activists that I trust and people that are in the space of organizing protests, have openly said that this protest is connected with 5051, which is an organization that in the past has organized these protests. They also organized the one-day boycott that in effect raised $90,000 for some dude on the internet. And they have also called they've called law enforcement into these protests. They partner with law enforcement. They're also asking for signups. They're asking you to go and register to go to the protest. Y'all, please, 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 please. I know, I put it on my Facebook this morning. I know that so many of you are itching to do something, right? I know that so many of you all are activated by what we're seeing in the world right now when, over the last lifetime, right? Over the last 500 years. However, I need y'all to like actually listen to those marginalized groups that are telling you exactly what to do, right? Because this kind of thing, it really gives allegedly white Democratic ops. And I've seen that narrative a lot online right now, that this organization in particular is an organization that is just like the Democratic Party's last attempt at getting people back behind it. So if you do choose to go to the protest, please be safe. Please follow all the rules. Erase your phone. Leave it unlocked. Don't take pictures at the protest. That's weird. And don't post them online with other people's faces in them. Don't do that. You're endangering other people, right? Make sure you're hydrated. Make sure you have a safe plan to get out. All of those things. And please do not follow the advice. There's some joker online, okay, saying that if trouble erupts, you should sit down. This is not a sit-in. This is a march. Do not do that when there are people trampling you. Don't sit down. Don't sit down. Don't sit down if people are moving quickly.
Well, I have to interject as a person who did Black Lives Matter New York City. The reason why they're asking the people to sit is because it's very difficult under the law to call a person who's sitting an aggressor. So we were actually trained as marshals in Black Lives Matter to when the authorities advanced to crisscross applesauce down, but you're not crisscross applesaucing down. This is the caveat that she missed a bit. You're not crisscross applesauce by yourself while 200 people
that part
trample you.
That part.
You're sitting down as 200 people. It's a collective action.
If you are kettled or if you see cops approaching and the group decides to sit down, sit down. Don't be the stander, okay? Don't be the stander. But if there are people running around you or walking around you, don't just sit down in the middle of that. That's dumb. That's really stupid. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. But yes,
and I wouldn't go to a protest alone the first time. I would not go without a comrade. There are other little things that that I'll tack on. Write the phone number to your local legal aid in not in permanent marker, but in marker on your body, perhaps permanent. And make sure that you have. Maybe we should do like a resource page or something where we outline things to take with you to a protest, while understanding that being in the street is not the only way to protest. Some of you can phone bank. Some of you can come to creative coalition spaces where people are talking about liberation and how to move that forward. There are a litany of things that you could do that doesn't put you in harm's way. Just know that resistance in any form is what's necessary to overturn fascist regime. I yield. I just wanted to explore the caveat of why people sit in protest. And I would also encourage everybody to get very, very familiar with what it means to de-arrest someone from authorities. There's a process that you can use to take someone back from the cops. And I've done that on a few occasions where a comrade was being taken away as an example. They'd love to separate out the leader, because if you separate out the leader or jail the leader, then the people who came with the leader or following the leader will dissipate, or their resolve will be crushed. That was one of the major questions that I was asked when I was doing Black Lives Matter work in New York City. And I did a lot of it. The cops would approach me as a marshal and say, who's in charge here? The answer to that question is the person they're going to try to take first. When they do take your friend, be prepared to snatch your friend back. I'm not sure we're going to talk about it later on the podcast, but we outnumber the military and the police 10-1. There's 10 of us for every authoritative person. So I would not be afraid as long as you are ready to do what needs to be done for liberation. It could be a rubber pellet to your leg. There was an Australian or British, we'll fact check it, or you can fact check me and send me a message here at the pod. AskDrFlo@gmail.com if you want to tell me about my life. I don't mind critique. And I can talk about multiple things at the same time. But if you're going to, like, there was a reporter that took a rubber bullet to the leg. Well, it shattered his leg in a way where he needed surgery. You know, the young lady who took a rubber bullet to the face. Like, don't go out here in these streets if you're not prepared to get a non-lethal bean bag or rubber bullet to the trap. You know, like, are you really willing to lose teeth for the movement? Or do you want to come into coalition where we're building inside that structure and outside that structure? There's got to be a lot of options here, because there are people, for example, you people who say, if you're not protesting in the streets, then what are you even doing? You're not accounting for disabled people. You're not accounting for parents who have kids whose legal obligation and spiritual and moral. I'm sorry?
Where is your intersectionality when you say stuff like that? You know what I mean? Like when you're asking.
The fight for freedom will be waged by everyone. The question is, how do we all fit in to liberating all people?
And your job can change. It can, you know, like it can change fairly rapidly. And yeah, let's keep going. Doechii and Tyler.
So over the week, no, it wasn't the weekend. On Monday of this week, the BET Awards happened. I believe it was in Atlanta. And of all of the celebrities, Black, that spoke on stage, and all of the celebrities in the room of all colors of humanity, there were only two that spoke directly to what's happening in Gaza and what's happening in LA and what's happening as it relates to Black history and critical race theory in this country. The first person I encountered in the Threads feed was Doechii. I don't know anything about her. I could not quote you a single song she sings. Doechii's not on my playlist. Doechii's not in my set list for my shows. What I did admire was her accepting the award and not ignoring the tension, the political and social tension that was happening right outside. So maybe they weren't in Atlanta. They had to be in LA. If she was saying right outside our doors is this grievance. I really appreciate Doechii for speaking up for trans people, gay people, Black people, Palestinian people. Like, your fave celebrities, and drop me a chat if you got a favorite celebrity. Your favorite celebrities, one of mine is Beyonce. Beyonce's never said anything about the riots. Beyonce's never said anything about Palestine. She's never said anything about Israel isn't real. These people who have money tied to the establishment, a lot of it is Zionist money. They have a gag on themselves as it relates to social justice issues. Doechii speaking up and saying, like, I will not ignore the oppression was a powerful move. I thought that she was an industry plant, frankly. But I don't believe that any industry plant would move like that. An industry plant or a person who is in the industry move the way our fave Keke Palmer did. When Doechii was on stage speaking up and they cut to Keke, Keke looked like, what is happening here? Because the fact is, the bag itself, you all talk about getting to the bag itself is Zionist. The bag itself is imperialist. The bag itself is oppressive. Moving on to Tyler Perry spoke so passionately and powerfully about the ways in which Project 2025, which we haven't talked about in a while, is moving forward. Like, these assholes are moving forward after years of prep, some would say even decades of prep, to erase the history of a whole culture and nation of people. Black people, African American culture. And I love what he said about it, Tara. He said they're trying to erase our footprints. We got 400 years of footprints, beauty and terror, laughter, joy, and pain. You got 400 years of it, and you have a whole segment of the population, not all white people, allegedly white people, not all black people, allegedly black people, not all Latinos, allegedly Latino. Like, it's not everybody, but there's enough people in power to try to say that our history did not happen. Newsflash, our history did happen. It was tragic. It was one of the greatest travesties, and it is a blemish on American history. The fact that you all won't name the suffering and seek to heal the suffering as people in power, as the ruling class, tells us a lot. And Tyler made an excellent plea as it related to not allowing people to erase our history and our footprints, but also the power in us creating our own footprints right now. So I will open for comments from Tara about either Doechii and or Tyler. Did you track? Do you watch BET and the BET Awards?
I don't really watch any award show. Like, if I happen upon them, like the Tonys, I knew were happening because of Audra, but I had no idea that this was happening. So like I really had no clue. Also, like, why is it on a Monday? Is it always on a Monday? Is the BET Awards always on a Monday? But anyway, um like, I don't know, but I guess I have no idea when award shows
I know
happen.
that BET is co-opted in that the parent company do not represent the interest of Black people. So I
Sure.
was very surprised that they didn't get cut. I think it was live. Doechie's comments seemed like they were pre-prepared, but
I
I don't.
Go cheese. I saw you repost Tyler's, but I didn't watch it all the way through. But so, like, and I was quite frankly surprised too that they didn't just like cut away from her, because it seemed rehearsed. It seemed she was very steadfast in what she was saying, and very very powerful in the way that she said it. And so I was pretty surprised that it was circulating at all, you know.
I
But
mean, do you think it was a situation where she was like, I'm only accepting this award if I'm able to say what I want to say?
do you think she has that much power over the network or over the award system?
No, I do not.
Me either.
But then Poppy Water has a conspiracy theorist that they were speaking on purpose. I don't know where to land with it. I do recognize the silence of everybody else.
Yeah, yeah. That I think any amount of speaking up in rooms full of power, because I don't think we saw that at the Tonys, right? We didn't see anybody step up at the Tonys. We didn't see anybody step up at the Grammys. We didn't see, maybe a little bit at the Grammys. I don't remember. I
Not
don't remember.
notably enough to make the reel and to make a splash.
Yeah, and so, like, I think when the people in the ruling class, because let's be clear, Tyler Perry and Doechii have money, right? They have fun, so they are a part of it. But I think when any member of the ruling class decides to speak up in a room of ruling class people, that's important. I don't know why it was quote unquote let happen, right? And I don't want to go conspiracy theory in it. I think I I'm just glad that it happened, I guess, is my thing.
It could have been anything. They could have practiced one speech or submitted one speech and then got on stage and did something different. I do know the production was live, and
Yeah.
so there's a little bit of leeway there when talking about Greta and Gasa and the fact that all immigrants are humans. I didn't bring the post today, but there was a young lady online talking powerfully about the fact that when y'all are out here talking about the immigrants and uh, the ways in which, like who's going to clean our toilets if they all go away, who's going to get our food for us if they all go away. All this shit is ridiculous because these are humans we're talking about. You all are not watching a movie on TV. And I do know that there is a huge segment of the population, because of the suffering of the heart and the mind, that loves to see people tortured. I would imagine that the same demographic that loves to watch cops, bad boys, what you gonna do when they come for you, that kind of American culture of watching people get chased is very, very present in what's happening with the immigrants in our country, especially in the sanctuary cities where they're supposed to be protected. Places like Minneapolis, New York, LA,
Seattle. Yeah.
Seattle. These are spaces where people go to seek refuge and to build a better life, coming from like some of these people are coming from under other, I use that language specifically, other tyrannical governments.
Yeah.
And they think that this is a place where they're going to be able to elevate. And now everything's being turned into a cat and mouse.
Yeah. And I would say that post, first of all, it's up on Dr. Flo's social media, but it comes from, her handle is The Reclaimed. And on TikTok, her handle is Shirley Chisholm folding chair, which I always giggle at every time I see her, because I just think it's hysterical. But yeah, she is, what she's saying is like, there's, and we had somebody, I brought a video, I don't know, months ago, kind of about this, that like, we are more than what we do, right? Like everybody is more than what we do. And we cannot justify humanity by what people give to society. Like that doesn't help. It just doesn't help. I will also say here, and we're going to talk about ICE in a little bit, but I saw a post about how, like, the percentage of immigrants being deported, the percentage of people being deported. And it's like a majority, it's like 57% or something are Haitian. And I want to be very clear, because we're having a lot of conversations about the Latinx community, rightfully so. But I also just want to lift up that the Latinx community is not the only community that is being kidnapped and disappeared. Is not the only community.
There's a siege for anybody who they perceive as other. The problem is, under fascism, anybody can be the other.
Anybody can be the other.
Anybody.
Yeah.
If you're following my social media, it could have been me thrown into a van last week because they thought I was Isaac in a purple wig, for those of you tracking. So we have to be vigilant, and we also have to love and protect one another, period. And whatever protection looks like for you, get to it, and get to it quickly. Protection of the heart, protection of the body, protection of the mind, protection of the freedom and justice for all.
Right. I think you're noticing a theme here. I titled this Silence. And if you could make this big for me, please. It says, this is from Mystic Brew, BRU, for those of you on audio. Beware of any healers who conveniently ignore what's going on in the world. Dr. Flo and I had an experience in a vibe check with someone who wasn't talking about feeding the people. We've had plenty of interactions with people that are not talking about that. Noticed it again on Crooked Media, which is supposed to be the antidote to, the Republican, the conservative media that's been going for 80 years. That's why we've got all these people that are out here speaking out the sides of their mouths and don't even know what they're really doing. Oh, that's a cool view. That's nice. That's nice. But so Crooked Media, I pulled up the podcast this morning because we do podcast listens at Love and Action Network. And I do believe that, we do need to click in. Sometimes Threads gives us a lot, but sometimes it's like, we got to click in. I got to kind of know what's going on. And the podcast was literally titled like Trump's, gun reform or whatever. And I was like, why are we talking about gun reform when there are protests happening across the country, and Gaza and the flotilla and all of that, they're still being starved? Like, what are we talking about here? So just, beware of any healers who conveniently ignore what's going on in the world. And I saw another post this morning that was like, I hate it. Literally, I reposted it to my stories and on Threads, but it was saying, that this person hated that, and we know why, but hates that the algorithms, like, if you speak up, it's really hard to also speak about your business because of what the algorithms do to you, right? The algorithms suppress anyone who speaks up. So while Dr. Flo and I both are speaking up about all of this going on in the world, we are being suppressed because of that, but also need to exist and eat, right? And that it's really hard. So I think a lot of the reason that people don't speak up, right, is that they're scared of that happening, right? They're scared that their livelihood is going to go away. But newsflash, fashion's going to take it from you, right? And so, like, the what are we talking about? What are we talking about? Freedom, liberation, feeding the world, right? So I just wanted to bring that one. That silence is disappointing.
It is very disappointing, and who does it help? To Tara's point, if you see a pastor, a doctor, someone who is supposed to care about all of humanity, silent about the harm, what's really happening, and why, we talk about this all the time, why the lack of empathy?
Right.
Like, it doesn't cost you anything to raise voice for someone who has less than you.
Right.
2 million people dying of starvation. Millions more in the African continent. And we're not saying anything because we'd rather watch TV. Like, it's nuts. It's just nuts. And no amount of numbing it out or ignoring it is going to make it go away. Right. These people have an insatiable appetite for harm and subjugating people. This is why we need community care networks. And I won't stop talking about it. You need to know who in your community wants to help someone like you. And I'm not just talking about family. If the shit hits the fan, you're going to need to know where the nearest source of water is, safe spaces to convene, a complete map of the care available in your network. Now, we are working in Love and Action Network to discover those people globally in our country and also in our localities. We're working on a bunch of directories and resources to bring people together, but we cannot do it alone. And if you are out there and you are what we call a light worker or a good human, or a do-gooder by your personal standard, we would love to talk to you more about what it would look like to network into that and amplify that so that people know exactly where to go if they're in crisis. I read this morning that in our community, I'm currently based in Lexington, North Carolina, working on launching this tour, Dr. Flo and Love Experience, which we'll talk about later. 1 in 6 people in this community are food unstable, and nobody wants to talk about it. And so you can feel really, really adversarial when you are begging the people who are supposed to care in local government and in clergy spaces and in humanitarian spaces to care, and they don't. We cannot stop talking about the care. When we're talking about budget cuts that make people lose their health care and lose their food stamps, these people are not going to, people who are working 3 jobs are not going to work harder. We need Community Care Network. We need UBI, which I was up to like 12 o'clock midnight talking on Clubhouse with a group about. What does universal basic income look like? Is it a check to everybody, or is it a process where you can use your phone to apply for rent assistance when your life goes tits up and you get that rent for the month as you rebuild, or the second month or the third month until you rehabilitate? There are no conversations on Capitol Hill about that right now. They're grilling the Treasury Secretary as he talks over every woman in the room. I'll move forward to Megan Hilty. The only reason why I'm talking about Megan Hilty today is because she's a Broadway performer. She has a role in Death Becomes Her, which is a very flamboyant show on Broadway. She's taking 3 to 4 weeks off for a vocal injury. Her role will be covered by not one, not two, but 3 actors, which meant that the role was demanding in the first place, but Megan has that smash star quality and people would like to see her. That's how she got Tony nominated, but she's going to sit out for 3 to 4 weeks because of the demand. I need everybody out there, especially now as we're using our voice for social change and good, take care of your body, take care of your instruments. I've done 8 shows a week on Broadway. It is not for the weak. And there are ways in which you can do kindness to yourself. I'm not blaming Megan for this because it was Tony's week. She had to be out at the performances. She had to take the interview. She had to be around. And so I'm sure that demand was wild. But this industry, music, can eat a person alive. And I hope that she doesn't feel bad about caring for herself. That's where I'll land and get your thoughts. Megan, if you can hear me, I'm sure I could get a message to her if I wanted to through my connections. Good for you in taking care of yourself. And when the haters come into the comment section, and Lord knows they do, ignore them, because the way to stay fabulous is by healing yourself. The way to stay fabulous is by loving yourself. And I hate to see that happen. Vocal injuries always freak me out. I've had laryngitis and all kinds of things happen to me professionally because I didn't take a knee. And so I'm happy that she's taken a knee. What say you about people who need to take 3 to 4 weeks out of a performance in order to go and heal before hopefully a triumphant return? I hope that she didn't do anything permanently in there that, busted her up.
I, like you, am proud of her for taking the time that she needs instead of pushing through. It highlights to me, as you said, the music industry will eat you up. It highlights to me how poorly, and yeah, there's going to be people that are going to be like, oh my God, but how poorly most vocal music is written. And most composers are not singers. And that is the truth of it. It has been true since the day that music started being written down. Bach is extraordinarily demanding on the voice. Mozart is demanding on the voice. There are very few composers who are actually singers, and very few composers who know vocal anatomy and vocal health. And so I start to look at, like, okay, what did that composer put in that repertoire? I don't know the show at all. That is causing damage to these singers. And then also looking at the demands of the people that are on the, that are making the casting decisions, that are producing the shows, that cause for this sort of thing to continue to happen. And I will say that the Fox system in the opera world, I guess, was designed to try and keep people safe. But most of these classifications don't actually keep the singer safe, because the people making the classifications and writing the music and producing the shows have no idea what good vocal health is. And part of that is because vocal health is very individual. And so I'm very happy that Megan is taking the break. I hope that she becomes even more public about it. I hope that she tells us what she did. I hope that she tells us like how it felt to take that time off. I hope that she falls in love with her voice over that time if there is any vocal change, and I hope that she gets the help that she needs through that. So that's what I will say, is that yeah, a lot of times we think that vocal injury is because of the singer doing something wrong, but the reality is that it's actually often the repertoire that they're singing being poorly written, or the scheduling demands of the shows that they're in not protecting the singer.
Or super loud orchestration.
Yep.
Certain roles and opportunities are not supposed to be acoustically presented in the way Broadway theaters are small-ish. But people like Cassie Levi, when she was in Frozen, had to be on an earpiece all the time just to keep her voice balanced in the madness, because it can get quite crazy. And I've never seen Death Becomes Her, but I've heard it's a very demanding role for every lead. And I'm sure that if it's a vocal injury, that's because she was scoped and is just aware that like something has to change, or you could have permanent vocal damage, which keeps me up at night. But not as much as these idiots in ICE.
Yeah. So I don't remember what I brought, but flip the page, please. And make it big, please. I can't read that. Okay. It says, and listen, I'm going to read the bottom one first. Okay. It says, if ICE disappeared tomorrow, no one's life would be worse. Millions of lives would be better. Abolish ICE. The top one says, and despite all the anti-blackness, it's still fuck ICE, and protect these vulnerable communities, including Black people. Not because I want cool kid points, because it's the right thing to do and it aligns with my politic. Some of y'all only have this politic because it makes you look good.
Wow.
So
some of y'all only do anything because it makes you look good, and we see you. Clock it.
No crumbs. I'm just gonna leave that one there. Yeah. Oh, and this is good. This will also leave no crumbs.
If this shit occurred anywhere else and for any other reason, the West would have liberated us by now. I am being so serious. The West would have liberated us by now. If mass law enforcement were nabbing people in mass, sending them to secondary locations, some of which are outside of the country, and able to do so with impunity, the US would have made a statement already about this being a threat to democracy across the globe and have taken care of it. If the leader of any other country were planning a birthday parade with a military demonstration at the same time he is federalizing and mobilizing military units against civilians over protests were happening elsewhere, the US would have given them their favorite brand of freedom. They'd be unabashedly referring to that leader as a dictator, and a 3-letter agency asset would be on the ground tonight. If candidates in a local election were grilled on the debate stage about pledging fealty to a foreign nation and asked explicitly whether they thought a religious ethno-state had the right to exist that did not belong to the city they were the mayor of, freedom would have rained from the sky by now. If a ship carrying aid to a population of people who are being systematically starved and annihilated in a genocide in their country were seized by a foreign government in international waters, carrying people on board from various foreign nations that are allegedly allies, happened anywhere else, if the Somalian Navy, what they love to call Somalian pirates, took that fucking ship, if the Freedom Flotilla were taken by the Somalian government, they'd have seen drones rain from the fucking sky. They'd have been reminded why a presidential candidate of last year felt the need to assert that the U.S. is the most lethal force in the world. They'd have gotten our very heavy-handed militarism. And we know the U.S. would have interfered because we have interfered everywhere else. Iran, Chile, Venezuela. This year, we tried to stage coup light in the Venezuelan elections against Maduro. Patrice Lumumba of the DRC, Thomas Sankara of Burkina Faso, assassinated for being communist dictators. Philly bombed a city block 40 years ago in 85 because the MOVE organization was anti-imperialist, anti-capitalist, and pan-African. The second the US and the West at large gets a whiff of anti-democratic sentiment that doesn't align with the needs and wants of empire, it is squashed militantly, aggressively, and very swiftly with no qualms about it. They'd have thousands of organizations across various causes, children's rights, women's rights, workers' rights, labor unions, making very full-throated statements about how we have to protect the sanctity of democracy for everyone, even the people we don't actually like. When it's the empire's violence, when it's the empire's militarism, when it's the empire's totalitarianism, all hands is off deck. Why? Why? You don't have freedom. You don't live in freedom. You live in the fabrications of freedom required by the empire to persist. If its very long, torrid history of incongruently pursuing liberation and democracy and freedom for oppressed peoples isn't something you picked up on yet, you probably never will.
No crumbs.
I'm gonna move on to the next.
It took me out this morning. Like I was like, oh.
I think this is a slide from last week, but I left it in for some reason. It works. Don't let the adulting disconnect you so far from the truth you just heard. You're going to look very unintelligent in the end for ignoring this. All of you. Those of you with associate's degrees. Let's start. Those of you with GEDs, those of you with high school diplomas, those of you with bachelor's, master's, doctorates, you cannot stand in front of me claiming that you're intelligent while ignoring what that young lady just said. She laid it all out, as Tara said, no crumbs, and being busy with your kids, being busy with work, fighting with your spouses and your lovers, moving the car, repairing the car. Like, I'm trying to go down the list of like all the things that people say is what's tying up their headspace. None of that is going to save you from the light workers and the healers and the humanitarians saying, whatever you were doing, or so whatever you are doing or were doing right now is what you would have been doing in the Holocaust. Whatever you are doing and saying or not doing or saying right now is exactly how you would have responded in the Middle Passage experience known as chattel slavery. It's a little too quiet coming from people who always like to beat their chest with me that they're grown. Y'all are grown about everything and smart about everything other than the recognition of suffering and solutions to heal it. I sat in a room last night for like 3 hours where everyone talked about AI coming for the jobs, and they were engineers and so-called credible people, not a solution in sight. You're going to have to yield to the smart people who want to heal it or shut the fuck up. Because this intentional disconnection thing that we're doing, where we're pretending like we're on each other's side, where we're still going, ain't going to work. Solidarity is the name of the game. And I love the idea that I've been hearing lately about indigenous solidarity. Meaning that if you identify with any indigenous group, if you identify with any part of the diaspora, if you've got a touch of color, it is now time for you to bridge with other people of color who want the freedom that you desire in your chest. Now, don't make the mistake of thinking, because this is where intentional disconnection comes into play. Don't make the mistake of thinking that all skin folk are kinfolk. I got a list, and we're going to publish it very soon, of Black people in this very community who don't like me and the freedom I represent. Now, I was never running for Miss Congeniality. I never won it because I'm not interested in being nice to you assholes who want to oppress us. So when I say calling in indigenous solidarity. I'm talking about everybody who wants to be happy, healthy, and free and create the conditions to make that happen for us all. I'm not leaving poor white people behind. I'm not leaving trans people behind. I'm not leaving gay people behind. I'm not leaving women behind. I've been working very diligently in the community to make sure that all people, especially women and trans women, have voice. The ways in which you imperialistic men and toxic masculine men are over talking the women, I'm not doing it right now, y'all. I'm just sharing my thoughts. I'm about to open up the space for Tara. But the way in which y'all bulldoze conversations as if you're the smartest people in the room while the whole world is crumbling when it doesn't have to, is some ridiculousness. It reminds me of my dead daddy, who would always be like, "You better listen to me, boy." I'm like, you don't really read at the top level. Why would I take advice from you? You don't care about everybody and their healing. Why would I take advice from you? And so this morning we were talking about discernment and teasing that out in our morning room on Clubhouse. You all are invited. 11 a.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Eastern every day. We're gathering because Tara and I sat in our private spaces where we cry and yell and jab and do all of the family things. And we're like, yo, now is not the time to be silent about the world. Now is not the time to be silent about our offers and our seeds and the things we bring to the world, like these conversations. There are people in our lives and the hundreds of people that watch the podcast and tune into things on Substack and beyond. We may be the only people in their inbox saying ceasefire now. We may be the only people saying like, yo, we could come together, but y'all want adulting and the stress of life and the overwhelmment of life to be the thing that pinches you off from connection. Let me tell you something. You know what? You know what's going to be real? I told them this last night. What's going to be really overwhelming is when those people who don't have health care pull a Luigi. What's going to be really overwhelming is when those people who don't have access to their food stamps and jobs to get food start holding you up in the parking lot with the groceries you bought. Because a gun is cheaper than a month of groceries here in my town. And I could go and pistol whip. I'm not gonna. That's Isaac's job. Maybe. Allegedly. But we could walk right over to the Food Lion and get everything. There's something in your bag, Praolo, that I would eat. There's something in everybody's bag that I would eat. Do not let your excuses. I used to tell my partner when we first got together because we were navigating 90 Day Fiance. I used to tell him all the time, your excuses, folks, are not going to save you. They may delay the suffering, but it's certainly not going to prevent it. Thoughts, Paolo?
My thought is that all of those excuses that you're making, and you think that you're making it because it's going to keep you safe, all of those excuses that people have are things that the people that are speaking out are also doing in their lives. Like, we are also, Dr. Flo and I, going to the grocery store. We are also, my husband got an oil change the other day. I'm raising a baby. I am running a business. I am teaching children. I am bringing my dogs to the vet. I have every excuse. And Dr. Flo even sometimes tries to hand it to me. He's like, you had a freaking baby. Like, don't ask what you haven't been doing when you had a baby. And I'm like, a baby is not an excuse. For me, it's not an excuse. It's not an excuse.
She does say this because delaying on taking action because of having a baby creates a condition and a world where the baby's not safe as an adult.
Right.
Like the reason why we show up to Deconstruction Junction and have these conversations is not because we don't have anything better to do. We both have digital farms that need planting, and like we game all day in our network. So we could be playing games, except for the fact that in 25 years, 30 years, 40 years, when I'm gone potentially, and her child's still here, her child is going to have to deal with all of the byproducts and the consequences, positively or negatively, of the actions that we took today. I take it very seriously. We're calling for ceasefire always. Ceasefire of the heart, ceasefire of the mind, ceasefire of the spirit, ceasefire in our communities, ceasefire in our relationships. Y'all need to put the daggers down. Some of y'all do not know how to communicate. We're going to be bringing back in Love and Action Network communication classes so y'all can get the raises at your job and speak up for yourself and things like that. But like, if you think that every opinion that someone has that is opposite of yours is a personal attack, you're never going to go anywhere. And this is a way also that the leaders in power try to gaslight us out of what we know to be true. It's just you feeling that way. No, it's not. There is a class consciousness shift that's happening with or without you. Every day, someone is waking up to the idea that corporations are not paying taxes. That this Walmart lady who is like anti No King's Day, she's cutting the Walmart workers' hours and benefits to the degree where they can't even get proper health care for the work they have at Walmart. She's not doing anything either. Have you seen her yacht? Found out about that smokescreen last night. That's a performance. This well-meaning billionaire mogul of Walmart, that she would speak out, and of course the liberals are booty clapping for her, like, oh, didn't she do such a great job at standing up to power? Not when Walmart could do more for everyday citizens.
This is the what does it say? The current location of the global march to Gaza. I don't know how to say this. Sumaud convoy. It's just showing where they are. As some of you may know, after the flotilla was kidnapped, essentially, while the people of the flotilla, the Freedom Flotilla, were kidnapped, focus shifted to this 7,000 strong and more, growing each day on this walk to Gaza to get aid to Gaza. And I think there's one more mayhaps on this. Yes, Dr. Flo posted this. I think the link is there, but we don't have to watch it because we're low on time. But so it says Israel's Hunger Games in Gaza, calling on starved civilians to walk miles to pick up food aid, then fire at them with heavy machine guns and tanks.
I'm actually gonna play it because there are some people who are getting away in their families and in their communities by saying they don't understand it or that they don't see it. Like, there's a way in which Americans and these so-called intelligent adults in our network and beyond act like nothing's happening, and they're gaslighting the fuck out of me. So this is what's actually happening. And I'm not trying to be rude, but I could be late to a meeting. And I'm not going to make you late to your meetings, but I can be late to a meeting and I can take time off of my announcements at the end for 2 million people being shot at as food drops. That's not happening to me. I'm not going out in the yard for flour in the street getting shot at. So I'll take the time because that's crazy. That's crazy. And there are so many people who act like they don't see it. Lazy friends, lazy social network, people who want to act like they are the adults and role models. You model shitty behavior in society. And we're not calling you out because we want you to feel bad about your life. We do this thing where we call out to call in. All day long on Clubhouse, Threads, TikTok, Instagram, WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, you name it. We're constantly, and we're going to do more to call people into a conversation of feeling empowered within their social network and out of the laziness that makes you feel that you're entitled to people's time, talent, and treasure without giving anything yourself. In the words of the master teacher Jesus, pick up your bed and walk. We're going to be bringing the energy of Jesus and all the master teachers and all the healing spirits to a town near you with my Love Revival and Academy. Stay tuned to the socials for more of that. This is what it looks like to me in my mock-up artwork, and I cannot wait to share it all with you all. This idea that, as Tara would say, joy is a revolution. And unless we start creating community theater and community dinner theater and opportunities for people to express themselves in joy, we're going to have more suffering because people are starting to think that taking up arms and getting guns and weapons is the way to protect yourself. Listen, I would rather have a joyful heart than be fortified and against everybody that's around me. I'm not doing black mama, white mama with y'all no more. Everyone who's on the side of good and justice and right can stay. We run a program here called Adopt a Black Artist. If you are Black and you need support and you need upliftment, we would love to hear from you. We'll be reaching back out to our Black artists not clearly. We'll be reaching out to our artists who are on the rolls now, or who are, I don't even know what that word was supposed to be.
I don't know what it was either.
Tara ran me here from away from my blunt before this, so I don't even know like why I'm even functioning. But we do want to connect with Black artists. We do want to get to know you. We do want to help in all the ways we can. So look like trainings, mutual aid, and whatever else we can muster up. I'm also hiring for the Love Experience. Be part of something that's bigger than yourself. If you have diverse talent and you want to help share stories about the power of love through music, theater, and art, we would love, love, love to get to know you better. We'll be calling out that and calling that in as well. Tell them a bit about Blackening the Canon before we head out.
Blackening the Canon is an effort to do exactly what it says, blacken the canon. Diversify we're starting with classical music, singing in particular, because that's what I know. And we're doing that right now. It is a group chat for free $99 where I throw links of Black composers and Black performers singing Black things. Come here. But eventually, hopefully, it will address the accessibility, the funding, and the I lost the word because I'm watching this child. I too lost a word, but I think mine is due to lunch. I need lunch. Anyway, we're going to address it. We're going to try to get more Black music into the classical canon that people learn. And we can do that as professional performers, adding it into our own repertoire.
Thanks everybody for attending today. Thank you for your time, your talent, your treasure. I'm very grateful for all the donations that came in to support Poppy and I over the last week as we've been mending him from an accident. Thank you for all the food. Tara sent me weeks of proteins and vegetables to help us along the path and to fortify the mind so that we can do this work. I'm super, super grateful. There's not a piece of love that has been extended to me and my family and my family unit and my community and my team that's lost on me. Those of you who are sending donations once a week, every week, to just do a little something for this Black boy joy and this mission that extends over the next 25 years, I am beyond grateful. And I'm really happy that for the first time in my life, and I've been performing and talking to people professionally for 30 years, for the first time in my life, my internal voice and my internal passion matches what you see outside. We've talked about it. We don't have time to talk about it today. I used to be a very fake and phony bitch until I found true love and community and support. Until I realized that I'm loved and lovable. I've always been loved and lovable, and I'm always going to be. Once I fell in love with this idea that I'm loved and lovable and worthy of love, it allowed me to stop up talking, you guys. Aren't you so glad to be with us today? I stopped all of that shit because life is real, but so is love. Tara, I'll let you close today. Not let you, but please close.
You've given me the space and hold space with me. And I just want to say thank you to you all, both Dr. Flo and the community at large, for holding both of us and doing the listening practices with us. And also for teaching me over the years what honest, open, willing, and available can mean in my body and my politic and my liberation and my, hey, no. Piper. So sorry, y'all. My child is trying to climb my quilt ladder. Yeah, that was a mama moment. We are not having that fall on my child. Anyway, with that, from all of us here at Love and Action Network, at PoppyWada33, at Andre in the Flow, at Tara Priolo Studio, Awesome Angie Enterprises and Novelties, Tony, who else did we see this morning? Cynthia, B, everyone, continue to be anti-racist, continue to speak up, be safe. Be safe and trust the people that are trying to help you. We're trying to help you. We're trying to help you. We're trying to help you. Be safe. Wear a mask, especially if you're going to a protest. Especially if you're going to a protest. One more time, especially if you're going to a protest. Wear a mask. Make good trouble. Do good work. I love y'all hardcore. You are loved and lovable, and nobody can change that. Tell 5 people today. Joy is our revolution.
Joy.
Step into it. Belong to it. Walk in it today. And we will see you